time for the Loco Sports Lowdown. Here are your hosts, Justin Jarrett, Wes Kerr, and Max Araj.
Hey, Loco Sports fans. We got the whole gang here. We got Justin Jarrett, Wes Kerr, Max Araj, and Marcus Walsh from WHHI TV who got all dressed up for a headshot that didn't happen today because just like all the events in the Loco today, headshots were canceled. Too wet outside.
Postponed.
Yeah, we
Do
called
it again in 7
Mushy
days.
Mushy Monday is what we called the show tonight.
Yeah.
Because none of the stuff got played today that was supposed to get played. Man, I thought I had a new ticker going here, but now I'm seeing maybe that's it. That's it. That's the one right there.
Yeah.
It says Lowdown. Yeah, there we go. I had the last night in the Loco ticker going. But this will tell you what else happening tomorrow now, because none of it's happening today. Pretty much everything pushed back a day because it's just been raining and raining and raining. It didn't rain for a month and then rained every day.
Well, I'll tell you what,
since,
I went out to the beach tonight, or close to the beach, and it was pretty. After the storm cleared, but obviously the fields were incredibly way too wet to have any events on them tonight. So we'll try it again tomorrow, and most of the rain should be.
I think we'll be good tomorrow. Looking at the forecast earlier, it looked like there's a chance for a coin flip for a little blip of rain overnight, and then another coin flip tomorrow afternoon.
The only concern is
you
the
know
fields.
how those things goes.
And the only concern is the fields for tomorrow, especially the early one at prep. I guess that's you just never know if you get like a decent shower early or midday.
Well, and I don't know the status of any of the fields other than the ones I walked on today, and they were underwater at lunch. But by afternoon, evening, they were starting.
Yeah,
to
hopefully
look
we'll get any
good.
more like weather in the early morning.
I hope the sun comes out tomorrow morning. That would help a lot.
I think it's scheduled to at about 7 a.m. So
that makes a huge,
if it can
huge
be,
difference.
sunny for a good, 10, 12 hours with some of the winds kicking up maybe a little bit to help get everything moving.
Well, the good news is the ground was really, really dry. So it is soaking it up. It's just taking time because it can only soak up so much at a time. So, I think we'll be okay by tomorrow afternoon. I think we'll be able to get them in. There is a chance that at least the Bluffton or the Hardyville Ridgeland game gets moved up to Ridgeland to the turf field, though, if we just feel like it's a more competitive surface. As of tomorrow morning when we'd have to make that call probably, but we're definitely considering that. I mean, we got a great turf field right there. It's two schools from the same district. There's no reason not to use it. We of course would forfeit our home field advantage, so to speak, but we know our fans are going to travel up the road to Ridgeland, and it's a great artificial surface up there that we can play on, and it'll be a sporting surface for a big event, so that's where we are. We got everything pushed back a day, but we've got great guests lined up to fill the void. We've got Lisa Hess already waiting in the green room, May River softball coach. Can't wait to talk softball with her and talk about that team and the game that is still happening. It's like 4 days long now. Carlson County May River still, cricket test match, still suspended in the second inning. We'll talk a little bit about that dynamic with her, and then later on around 9:30 or so, Jay Scarbro, the head coach of Hilton Head Christian Academy baseball team, trying to run it back. J.W. Wilkerson won the title last year, stepped aside to be just the AD, and his guy Jay Scarbro has him on the brink of another one. So looking forward to that. Of course, we're going to be at some spring football if we can. Definitely.
Yeah, that'll take place towards the end of the month.
Yeah, we're getting there. There. But the show tonight presented by Mickelson Law Firm, our all-star sponsor of Loco Sports, our original sponsor. They've been with us since the beginning, back in 2017, when I was like, hey, nobody's covering local sports. We should do this. They got on board right away, and they've been with us ever since, supporting us every step of the way. So we love Mickelson Law Firm. We hope you'll call on them for all your legal needs. They're our official real estate closing attorney and presenting sponsor of our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage. And once again, Jay Scarbro going to be joining us in just a little bit. But right now we are joined by the head coach of the May River softball team, one of the handful of softball teams still fighting in the Loco right now. Coach Lisa Hess, what's going on, Coach?
Hey, good evening. How are you?
Oh, always
great, Coach.
Always great to talk with you. We've had some great chats, along the side along the sideline or even out on the field when you come out to help some of the younger girls with us. But this is an unusual situation you find yourself in. You're still in the middle of a game that started on Friday night against a team that's really familiar to you with Colleton County. You guys played each other twice this year, obviously, and twice every year, have had a pretty good little rivalry, and you're stuck in the middle of this one. First of all, are we going to be able to get it in tomorrow? It looks good for tomorrow, right?
Well, I've become a landscaper, and I have been on that field for the last 3 days, cleaning it. Today we had the girls and some parents come up to practice and help us get the puddles off the field. And we put some field dry on and turfus, and then we put some covers over the bases that are bad, which is first and third, and we're gonna hope to get it in tomorrow.
That's the goal. That's
the goal. I mean,
very much so.
You got to get into the rest of the tournament can continue, and because this is a winners bracket, the 1-0 game. So there's still a lot of games to be played in this district tournament before we get to the conclusion. So now, obviously, this game is in progress, and when it begins, it's a pivotal moment in this game. With Mirror trailing 2-1, Colleton County is second and third with 2 outs and a 2-2 count on Eversole. Nagel was on the circle when the game was suspended. So tell me about what you will tell your team, and how do you hope these girls will approach it as you look to get out of that inning and then push forward. How pivotal is the start of or the restart of this game, and how do you hope your players will approach it on the field?
Extremely pivotal. We know that we have 2 strikes, and we know that we need to get one of their best hitters out, which is very difficult. She hit very well against us in the regular season games, so we don't take her lightly. And there are runners at second and third, and just a single typically brings those 2 runs in, and that's not
especially with 2 outs.
Yeah, that's not what you want at that juncture. So we've talked about it. We've talked about our approach, and our approach is get her out, come in, and score runs, and get back on the horse.
Right. That's a unique situation.
Yeah, for sure. To piggyback off of Wes's question there, Coach, has there been anything that you've been able to do with your team inside the last couple of days, as well as extra, mentality or mental exercises, because this has been definitely an extended delay?
We have. Fortunately, our baseball team has a covered batting cage.
Nice. Yeah.
So we have been in there the last 2 days, and we've been hitting for at least an hour. I think today we were in there for over an hour and a half. The great thing that happened, and I say this all the time, I'm a believer that everything happens for a reason. Today it just seemed like the team was coming together, because after batting practice, you typically expect the girls to pack up their bags and go home and do the stuff that they do at night. But every single one of my girls came back over and asked what they could do to help us on the field. And we had everybody on the field. We had some parents come and join us. And those girls did not leave until I told them it was okay to leave. And that's why we got the puddles off the field. And that's why we're going to be ready tomorrow. And I think they took a lot of pride in that, and brought them closer as a team.
Yeah, team effort, and we need everybody, right? As a side note, my friend Coach Joe Karachi says the best trick he knows for getting water off the field is the egg mattresses. The egg carton mattresses. Use them like a sponge. You take a few of those out there, and you soak up all the water, and you take them off to the side and wring them out. And he swears by it. Swears by it. So if you're in a pinch tomorrow.
We have everyone bringing their wet dry vacs tomorrow, just in case.
Nice.
That'll do it too. The shot back.
Yeah.
But no, that's a crazy situation. 2-2, 2 outs, 2-on.
Yeah.
I guess walking her isn't necessarily the worst thing with first
Right.
base open.
Right.
But what
Who's
you
up
don't want to
next?
do is go throw that first one right down the
Yeah,
middle
but then
and
Oxner's
let her
on
crack
deck.
it. So
You're cleaning up the Clampeter. Oxner's
yeah,
on deck.
Oxner's dangerous
Right.
too. So, but with
Yep.
first base open, you definitely don't want to give her anything too good with 2 strikes there. You hope maybe she's a little antsy and you get her to chase. But man, that's a crazy situation for both batter and pitcher to
Yeah.
walk into that. But you can't be too fine because it's 2-2. But on the other hand, a walk isn't the worst thing in the world with
No.
first base open.
No.
So, fun situation, and it's a fun game because although I know you were a little frustrated to draw both Hilton Head and Colleton County from your region in that first little pod. That's kind of crazy, but we do love the Cougars. Our friend Christopher Holmes always tuning in.
Absolutely.
Love big Cougars fan. His daughter Brooklyn on that team,
Mm-hmm.
and so I had to give him a little shout out there. But
Sure.
what is it like? You know, you first had to play Hilton Head for a third time this season. Now you're playing Carleton for a third time this season, and you know, being real, could play them a fourth and potentially fifth time before this thing's all done. You a fan of this new system, or would you rather see fresh blood in this first round of the playoffs?
That's a good question. You know, when you see fresh blood, you don't know what you're facing.
Right.
You
Right.
you
The
you have
devil
to
you
rely
know
on,
versus the
Yeah.
devil you don't.
Those
yeah.
are-
Right.
You
those
know
are
what
fun.
you're facing. You know the batters. You've pitched to them before. You know,
Mm-hmm. Kind of
it's
got
a
a game plan.
rivalry. Yeah. So I don't really mind playing them because you know them. But we actually look forward to getting out of this round and playing somebody new. So that's
Yeah.
our plan.
Right.
Best laid plans.
Yes.
Well, obviously you've got a good returning pitcher in Olivia Nagel, who we mentioned earlier, but Caden Swafford has also stepped up and thrown the ball really well for you guys, young kid. So you know, how much different are they? Is Caden kind of a change of pace, or is she throwing harder than Olivia now, or are they about the same, or what's it
They're
look like there?
totally different.
Yeah.
They both pitch differently. They both have different pitches.
Mhm.
The fortunate thing that happened to May River this year was, luckily getting a pitching coach that we
A real deal
got in.
pitching coach.
Yeah, real pitching coach who pitched D1 softball, and Maddie has done an excellent job with these ladies, pushing them, you know, a little bit past their limits, right? Which
Yeah.
is what you have to do, and teach them, you know, when to pitch whatever pitch it is that they want to pitch. And you know, when the girls get frustrated, like you said, they want to pitch the ball down the middle just to get a strike, and that might not be the best thing to do. And that's where Maddie comes in.
Yeah. Yeah. Maddie Cordes is your pitching coach. She pitched at Purdue. Terrific young woman too. I mean,
Really good lady.
I remember you calling me looking for some help over the summer, and then I became acquainted with Maddie and found out you had found her, and I was like, okay, well you did a lot better than I could have helped you do. But no, that's good stuff. You guys have had a great season. Tell us just a little bit more about this team, and because you guys have graduated some talent over the last few years and sent some kids off to the next level, but it seems like you just keep reloading.
Well, you know, we have 5 seniors this year, and these seniors have been with us for, well, as long as I've been here coaching, and they're very, very important to the team. They're experienced. They're excited to play in the playoffs again, especially after our run last year.
Yep.
And, you know, I seem to say this every year, but I'm going to say it again this year. This team is one of the best teams I've ever coached. You know, they're excited, they're respectful, they are coachable, which is a big thing.
Huge.
Very big.
Very big.
You know, they're trustworthy, and they work hard at practice. So, I mean, that's all you can ask for. And I have it.
Yeah, that's half the battle, or even more so than that. Be able to coach a group that's likable and loves to do it and buys themselves in. That's fantastic. But just talk to me a little bit more about that senior class and those upperclassmen and what they have done to this program and how you hope that last year's big run could help them propel this team even further.
Well, I think you all are familiar with Michaela Landry.
Oh, yeah.
She, as far as I'm concerned, is the best leadoff hitter out there. Teams fear her because when she gets on, she typically scores, which was the case in the Culleton game.
It's hard to keep her off base, and
you
once
have
she
to
gets
keep
on,
her
it's
off
hard
the
to keep
base.
her.
She's the
going
leader.
around.
She's the leader. She, is always there, volunteering time, doing whatever it takes to get the job done, rallying the team. You'll always hear her talking on the field. You hear her talking in the dugout. Just a real big leader and someone that makes a difference on a team. And, the other seniors, they play, very good and special roles. We have Addison Ruppelt. So she and Michaela are all-state players this year, which is exciting. And they're both going to play in the North and South game, which is also very exciting for them. So, Addison, when that ball comes off her bat, it's like a rocket.
You ain't kidding.
And I tell you that from experience, because when you have to front toss behind a cage, it's an
Put the fear of
experience.
God in you. Put the fear of God in you.
Experience. I think she gave me a concussion one time this year. The ball came off the top of the cage and hit me on the head. So
Wow.
Yeah. So, when she hits the ball, you need to be paying attention. Doesn't always go out of the yard, but it doesn't have to, because it's a laser.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And, Allie Belcher is is one of our seniors who has been there year in and year out. And she plays a pivotal role in that. She's in the second position and does whatever we need her to do to move runners. Has had a great year, had a great year last year, reliable. And, we have Grace Murdahl, who, really doesn't get a lot of balls because our pitchers are so very good, but any balls that are near her, she tracks them down. And her batting this year has really improved. It's hard to keep her off the bases, and she's another Michaela, where if she's on the base, she typically scores. Just a phenomenal group of girls. I just, I could talk about every single one of them exactly like I talk about the seniors.
Well, and you've got a freshman behind the plate. Or eighth grader, right?
She's
eighth grader behind the plate,
yes.
Callie. Man. So you guys have more talent coming as well.
We do.
Although we do have to work on, we all have to work together to make sure that talent pipeline keeps coming. And we're definitely going to work together on that over the summer, trying to get more girls out, getting more reps, and just trying to grow the sport here in the area. But you guys got any more questions for Coach Hess? We'll have her for a few more minutes here.
I've noticed, Coach, the ability, and we've talked about it a little bit, you've talked about it, with base running and always being, a step or two ahead. And seeing as much baseball as I have in my broadcasting career, I haven't seen the ability of base running, especially with softball, quite like your team. Talk about that and what that means to your team, being a step or two ahead in literally every situation that you can.
Well, I don't want to give up our secrets at practice, but
Sure.
When we practice game like, and our girls will run mostly every day. They run in situations. So, we do the simple 21 outs, and during that 21 outs, everybody runs. And they learn to read the ball. They learn to push it. They learn when they can and can't run. So, one of the things that when I started a few years ago, I wanted them to understand was I shouldn't have to tell you to go. Right. If I tell you to go and you get out, it's on me.
It's on me. Yes.
Right. And so I've fostered the idea that you should run, when you can.
Yes.
and
And you should run as fast as you can because
and
we
as
don't
fast
hang
as you
out
can.
between the bases.
Yeah.
And you
Um,
have to get them to slide because they don't like to slide.
they hate it.
Yeah.
They hate it. They really
Especially
do.
about a week ago, they did not want to slide because the ground was so hard.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
rough out there.
And I don't
Coach,
understand it.
Coach, when everyone buys in like the way that we're seeing on this team and what we saw at the end of last year too in the playoffs, how fun has it been to coach and help lead this team along with that group of fantastic seniors and upperclassmen and just see the rewards that this team is achieving out there in the field?
Well, I think, any coach will tell you that they coach for that simple reason, to see their players succeed and the smile on their faces. And there is no better thing to see than our girls get excited about a hit, about a play, about a run, about a win. There's no better thing for me, at least as a coach.
Yeah.
So that's why I do it. And, more to your point, Justin, I'd like to coach every girl in the Low Country up.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them all succeed, not just my team.
Just watching them get better
Right.
alone. I mean, that reward
Yeah.
alone, just seeing the fruit of their labor and seeing
Yeah.
them connect the dots that, oh wow, if I keep working at this, I can keep getting better. That's what we do it for,
Yeah,
because
we do.
we know, and then we see them buy in and want to put in the work, and we reflect their energy, and the more they put into it, the more we put into them, and everybody wins.
That's right.
But no,
Yeah.
it's been really a blessing to get to spend some time with you, especially standing alongside the softball field and just talking about the game. And we definitely have, we are like-minded as far as our purpose and our goals within the game, and helping kids, use it to improve themselves and to leverage it into opportunities down the road, hopefully. So
Right.
look forward to working with you much more, and
I do as well.
look forward to whoever comes out of this battle,
Yes.
this cricket test match with you and Colleton. We'll be pulling for you to
gonna be
go all the
fun.
way. So
Well, you're
thanks so
welcome
much,
to
Coach.
attend.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely try to make it out there
right.
tomorrow night. But
Definitely see you
busy
tomorrow
slate
night.
tomorrow night in the Loco. Somebody will be there to check you out, though. I promise.
Awesome. I
I'll
just
see you
want you
tomorrow,
to see
Coach.
I want you to see our beautiful field and my
Yeah.
landscaping abilities. Really.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's impressive. I've gotten a good bit of landscaping experience myself this year, so I feel your
Yeah.
pain. Thanks so much,
Right.
Coach. Take
Hey,
care, and we'll
thanks.
talk to you soon.
Have a
Appreciate
good
it.
night.
See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
That's Lisa Hess, May Rivers softball coach. Great talking with her. Truly, it's really been. And I'll tell you the truth, I was a little scared of her at first. First couple times I went to a game since after she became the coach. She's intense, and I just didn't want to overstep or anything, when I don't know a new coach all that well. And I didn't feel real comfortable like going and talking to her during the game because she was so in the moment. So then I kind of got past that point of, where you go introduce yourself. Like, well, now we know who each other are, but we haven't really talked. And we finally got to talk, and we really hit it off, and we've had some great conversations. And I really appreciate her, and I'm glad that she's taken over that program. She's doing great things there. But all right, well, let's get to a few sponsors because we already have another guest waiting for us. Hudson Seafood House on the Docks is back for another year on the Lowco Booster Club. Great place for seafood, sunsets, and cocktails on Hilton Head Island. And presenting sponsor of Under the Bus. New episode aired tonight at 8 o'clock. So go check that on the Lowco Media Network. Those guys were hilarious tonight. I mean, on fire. We covered everything from Bill Belichick and his weird girlfriend to Pope Leo the 14th and everything in between. So
I have no
Cooper
doubt
Flagg's
Bob was
mom
full of
got
energy
in there.
today.
Oh yeah, it was good times. But
Had
that's presented
fun
by
with him
Hudson
today
Seafood
at
House
the
on
office.
the docks.
Oh,
He's a great guy.
No
New
doubt.
sponsor Hilton Head Furniture, the Satola family, bringing great handcrafted furniture down from
I
Hickory,
don't.
North Carolina.
There's some big irony. Tonight as the Dallas Mavericks
Yes,
won the lottery and got
yes,
the
they sure
top
did.
pick.
They did. That was
There's some irony in that one, no doubt about that.
that was our first topic on Under the Bus tonight, so go check that out. But Hilton Head Furniture, Satola family, bringing great handcrafted furniture down from Hickory, North Carolina, to the Low Country to sell to you to keep in your home for a long time. Quality furniture, at Hilton Head Furniture, and HHI Windows and Doors, the newest spot to improve your view of the Low Country, led by Coach Barron, the state championship winning coach from Hilton Head Prep basketball. Now in the windows and doors business, HHI Windows and Doors, new Lowco Booster Club sponsor. And of course, Mickelson Law Firm is the presenting sponsor of our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage, presenting sponsor of the LowcoSports Lowdown, and presenting sponsor of our next guest, the head coach of HHCA baseball. The guy's on the brink of a state championship. We got Jay Scarbro joining us. What's up, Coach?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Been a long time
Doing well,
coming.
Coach.
I know you've been eager to get on the show, and we've been meaning to get you on for a long time. And I'm glad we finally made it happen tonight. You and I had a great chat the other day, and I know you're fired up for this series that you can't seem to get started. What's the schedule for the state championship series now up to the moment?
Well, as it stands right now, we're playing at Ben Lippen on Wednesday, and then they'll be coming to us on Thursday, and then, if necessary, game at some neutral site on Friday.
Gotcha. So we pushed back to Wednesday for game one now at Ben Lippen. So that's what I thought that was the case, because I got the word earlier that you were going to be at home on Thursday. So I was like, hold on. I think they must have had to go 2 days back. But what does this do, this little disruption? Obviously, you guys were playing great ball, undefeated in the tournament and looking good. And now you got to sit around for a few days. Does that mess you up, or do you need the rest, or you trying not to think about it and just go play ball on Wednesday, or what?
Well, it's kind of similar to last week. Having won the winner's bracket game on our side of the bracket, we just essentially had to sit there and wait all the way until Wednesday to play again. So essentially, we waited for close to a week to play our final game there on our side of the bracket. So ultimately, this is similar to last week in the way that we prepare is just, you take these first couple of days this week and obviously prepare your arms, prepare your guys, for what they know to be the case as it looks in terms of your game one starter, your game two starter, and then obviously full bullpen session for your guy who potentially would be the game three starter. So you just manage as you know how to manage based upon what you know to be true with the weather. And that's fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, where we are right now. We're just sitting and waiting and trying to do our best to be prepared for that first game.
Yep. That's all you can do. Just continue to wait out and develop that good mindset. But just an incredible run that you guys are on to the state championship and for in your first season of head coach. Just describe the emotions of these past few games and how these guys have responded, and no bigger than the dramatic walk-off home run to send you guys to the final series.
Well, this postseason has been full of dramatic moments at Lawrence Manning, Jackson Richardson hitting a huge triple to put us up there late in the game and went extra innings. And then, of course, Hayden hitting the walk-off the other night. Anthony Seminar hitting a huge grand slam at Cardinal Newman. Those are moments where I've watched this video so many times.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
What a launch
into the night.
It's such a great thing when you prepare all season long and you have times where we went 7-3 in our region, and you have those games. We lost 2 region games by a run, and they were both on really almost kind of fluke plays. And you got to think, going into the postseason, our fortune has to change. We're preparing the same way, but we had a fairly young team like Hayden there. He's our only senior. And so as you looked at the postseason, you think about, well, we have an opportunity here, guys. Like, the landscape in 4A is all brand new to us, but ultimately we've played with all these teams, and our 3 losses in region play were by very few runs in opportunities and games where, they were 50-50. I mean, one thing bounces their way, it's going to bounce our way eventually. And so ultimately that's just kind of how we prepared going in. We're like, we're the 4 seed. Let's just take advantage of what we can take advantage of. And at this point, our guys really have. I mean, they have really, really done a lot this postseason that we learned from in the regular season, then we just put into play, and they've just kind of taken that next step.
Yeah, when you came out as the 4 seed and the 1 seed sitting there was a team that you lost twice by 1 run, and one of them was on a very questionable, controversial call. That was like, oh, well, if that's the difference between 1 and 4, I think we can win this just as easily as anybody else, right? But Max, did you have a question?
Yeah, I mean, Jay, you and I both talked last week briefly, texted each other, and you mentioned you thought this team was exceeding expectations going in through these playoffs. I guess explain to me what those expectations were for you guys going into this playoffs and how they've exceeded it so far.
Yeah, ultimately, when I said that, looking at our team this year, consistency was the one thing we struggled with. I felt like our team was very talented. Our pitchers had thrown well. Offensively, we had produced, but we really hadn't consistently put those things together, and really, in other ways, hadn't played. When those two things were working well, we would find a way to not play good defense. And so I think expectations going into the postseason was, we want to get in, and then we want to be competitive when we get in.
Right.
The expectation was never we're going to find our way in the state championship. Whereas, I felt like our team last year with 10 seniors was, okay, even if we drop into the loser's bracket, we're going to find our way into the state championship. I think this year it's been more of, okay, one, we really don't even know all the teams in 4A. So how do we match up with Cardinal Newman? How do we match up with Augusta Christian? How do we match up with these teams? And then finding a way to be competitive in all those games. I think where I looked at exceeding expectations, it was, okay, collectively in all 3 areas, between playing solid defense, pitching and throwing strike 1, and then finding a way to produce offensively, all of those things are going to have to work out for us. And we're going to have to take that next step and just be that team that I felt like we could be, but we were going to have to be consistent and do it over the course of 4 games to find our way in the state championship. And ultimately, that's what these guys have done. So I'm really proud. And they're super coachable. They're young, but they're super coachable.
Yeah, it's really impressive. But just taking back to when you were tapped to begin this job by J.W. Wilkerson, just led this team to a state championship last year. So, I mean, just your thoughts going into taking on this role and what you learned and heard from J.W. as you began to assume the position of head coach Hilton and Christian County, trying to follow up what J.W. did last year.
Well, ultimately, I can't say enough good things about J.W. Wilkerson, just as his assistant coach last year, now working with him as athletic director, he being the athletic director. He has been so supportive of our team, and in reality, a guy that wants us to win as bad as anybody in the ballpark. And I just appreciate him so much. But last year, when he was moving into that role, and he and our head of school were meeting with me about it, I was like, guys, I don't even, this is my first year in South Carolina. I don't even know where these schools are. Like how competitive will we be in 4A? I know the players that are returning in our program, but like numbers wise, we're going to be a little thin. Like how will we be in 4A? And they tried to kind of help me with what that looked like a little bit, but ultimately, just taking what Coach Wilkerson put in place and some of these guys that I relationally got to know last year, and then the pitchers I was able to work in. I mean, I don't think it's any secret. I'm definitely a big pitching guy. Those guys I was able to work with last year, building upon what we were able to do. Obviously, returning Hayden Brooks, who was critical arm for us last year, returning him, just sort of being that focal point, that top guy for us, and then been able to work in some of these younger guys who didn't throw a lot of innings last year. They've been critical for us. And so Coach Wilkerson was great to just kind of help me sort of figure things out in the early going. And he's just been tremendous to work with all year long as athletic director, because ultimately, even today, he and I are sitting there meeting going, okay, now if this goes past the scheduled dates of the championship games, the ADs and, of course, Mike Fanning and those involved with SCISA, you're going to have to make, the determination. He's like, Jay, I've got you. And so Coach Wilkerson has just been terrific to work with and just a guy that I hold in very high regard.
Yeah. And you've done it's been a great transition. I mean, it was fortunate that they were able to make that internal move and that you were sitting there. And I know that you're really planning for the future because you've got a 12-year-old son, right? Who's coming up through the ranks, and you've got a nice little 12U team that you kind of brought with you and supplemented with some local guys. So I know you're excited about what's coming here in a few years because you're getting your hands on the young kids.
Yeah, I enjoy it. My son Reese, he's in 6th grade, and that little 6th grade group this year, their first year in middle school, was great. And just because of our numbers, because of the number of seniors we lost last year, everything kind of, I don't know whether you call it cycle up or cycle down,
right.
But only having one senior, our varsity team, I knew was going to be very young. So then I took what 8th graders would, and I appreciate them and their families so much for this because there are a lot of 8th graders that are like, hey, I don't get my last year middle school baseball. I got to move up and play JV. Our middle school team having a lot of numbers in 6th and 7th grade. They were primarily our middle school team this year, and the majority of them being in 6th grade. Those young guys, they get to get out there on a 60-90 field and really kind of figure it all out, but they did a great job. And there's a lot of young talent there in the middle school that we're super excited about. So yeah, just having an opportunity to be around those guys and pour in. Our middle school coaches did a tremendous job, but yeah, the future is very bright for HHCA baseball because we have a lot of young kids that are they would call themselves baseball players. I'll just say that they think about baseball even when it's not baseball season. And
you got a bunch of our Waves guys in that 8th grade class that are playing JV for you, I think. So, and then Jason Bruni, one of our Waves assistant coaches, coaching your middle school program, and Coach Jackson, our Waves head coach, coaching your JV, right? So we got our stamp all over that one. We're proud of those guys, and certainly all our Waves kids that are part of HHCA are pumped for this week and looking forward to it. Max, were you sitting on a question for Coach Jay?
I mean, talk about, the journey you've been through coaching this team this season. I mean, it's obviously, like you said, very young team. And I think a lot of people knew that coming into the season, going as a very young team into a new division of SCISA baseball. Haven't really played many of the teams. I mean, you guys played Augusta Christian last year, but apart from that, hadn't really, played many of these teams. And a new head coach coming in. I mean, talk to me about the journey and what you were able to accomplish and learn throughout this season as a head coach for this team that's starting everything brand new.
Well, I think the big thing for this team was preparation. Really, a lot of guys played a critical role for us last year, and those guys moved on. Quite a few of them are playing college baseball right now. A talented young group, but knowing we would primarily be sophomores and juniors this year, trying to prepare them. They're all good athletes. Quite a few of them play pretty high level baseball, but really trying to think about what could I do to go ahead in the preseason, not necessarily knowing a lot about Trinity or LMA or Camden or any of these teams, not knowing a whole lot. How do we prepare? Well, we took the first week of the season. We went down to Central Florida. My brother's down there. We went down to St. Pete and we played IMG. We played Northside. We played those teams that finished in Final Four or the finals of the Florida State playoffs. And we're just like, we're gonna see what we're all about. We're going to win, lose, whatever. We're going to learn. And we're going to get back and we're going to work on the things that get exposed. And when they do get exposed, that's the best way to prepare for what we don't necessarily know to be true in 4A baseball. If we cover bunts well, if we understand first and thirds, if we are going to Florida and throwing strike one and playing well and having good approaches at plate and all those things. Well, there's a carryover effect, and we can work on those things, but those are the things we're going to have to do well in 4A baseball. And we went down there and got roughed up our first 2 games, but then we found a way to beat Southwest Florida Christian. And as Danny Morgan and I were walking out of the park, he goes, Jay, this is probably, it was a tight ball game all the way through. And we found a way to win at the end. He goes, Jay, this is probably a good vantage point for what a SCISA 4A baseball game is going to look like. And that Southwest Florida Christian game has looked so much like several of these playoff games.
Yeah.
Wild atmosphere and finding a way to win it at the end and playing for that big inning. And so that's what we've done.
Good stuff, man. Well, a couple more days. You still get to sleep on it 2 more nights.
It's you and Ben Lippen for a state title. So, just your final thoughts on this opportunity and what you have to do to get 2 more wins.
Well, we were blessed to be able to play Ben Lippen already this year. I put us in a spring break tournament up in Columbia. Not even really know. I knew that there were SCISA teams in it, so I was like, "Well, this will be good for us." We were able to play them the first day of the tournament, and we had just played region games over the weekend. So we really, we threw 4 and 5 in our rotation, and they threw their top 2 guys against us, and we were able to see them. And, that was something that was very helpful to us. Now, does it buy us a win? Absolutely not. Does it buy us even the opportunity to compete? I don't know. I will say this. When we saw Ben Lippen play that day, I looked at those guys and I told their coach, I said, Coach, I can tell you've got quite a few physically developed guys. Like what does your roster look like? He said, Jay, I have 11 seniors. And these 11 seniors have been in our program all along.
Wow.
And you could just tell the way those guys fill out their uniforms. They're big, physical, strong guys. But it was a good ball game. They beat us 14-8, but it was a high scoring game. We put runs up against their top 2 arms, and so I think we can compete. We just can't do any self-harm, or they will expose it, because they're a talented team and they're senior laden and
hungry.
Those guys are hungry. That's exactly right. They want to walk away with state championship.
A lot like your team last year. They're not going to go quietly. They're going to fight you tooth and nail to the very end.
Yeah.
I was intrigued by that Ben Lippen game because I had heard words about that team before you guys had played them in that tournament, thinking that should be interesting because I know you guys are both in the same division, wondering how that's going to go. And when I saw that loss, I was like, I had known you guys had played games before that, and so I had wondered how that game was going to go. But now that you guys are playing each other again, I only wonder what it would have been like if you guys had played your 1-2 compared to their 1-2. And we're going to find out on Tuesday, so I'm very excited.
Well, Wednesday. We're going to find out Wednesday and Thursday and maybe
Friday when the series is decided after one of those 2 days. But
I think ultimately,
I'm very excited, Coach.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Very excited for you, Coach, and pumped to see you guys seize this opportunity, hopefully, and get 2 more W's.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think ultimately what the Reign's done is it'll be best on best. You're not playing the pitch count scenario any longer. It will be best on best, 1-on-1, 2-on-2. So it's going to be a tough matchup for us. We're going to have to compete, and some guys are going to have to show up in ways maybe they haven't all year. But if they do, I like our chances.
All right. Yeah. It should be a good one. Should be a great series. They'll be up at Ben Lippen on Wednesday. You know if they'll have a live stream or anything like that? I guess it'll be on your Game Changer.
Yeah, it'll be on our Game Changer.
Friends and family. But and then we'll catch you at home on Thursday, possibly with the chance to clinch another state championship. So congrats on a great first season at the helm, Coach, and been a pleasure to get to know you and always love talking ball with you over by the batting cages.
Sounds great. Thank you all for having me.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Coach.
Take care, Jay. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
That's Coach Jay Scarbro from HHCA Baseball, another real treasure that we are blessed to have leading our young people here in the Low Country. We got to talk to 2 tonight, awesome. Man. 2 that we're really lucky to have coaching our young people, and they're among many that we're blessed. I mean, every coach is a blessing for real, but
Yeah.
we have some really good ones in the city.
But having someone like Scarborough take over a program that J.W. Wilkerson had built, I always thought when he took over that was the perfect move, because I can't think of many other people, especially
tell
I
you.
watched him so many times last season be the pitching coach and assistant coach for this team,
Yeah.
give J.W. advice. I said to myself, if JW is stepping down, which we had thought, there were rumors going around
Yeah.
at the time when I found out that there was a possibility he was going to step down and take, the AD spot, I thought, who are they going to hire? And one of the first people I thought of was Jay Scarbro. And the moment they hired him, I said, that is the best move they could have possibly made to secure the future of that baseball program.
Well, when you're a head coach, and particularly when you're a head coach who's also the AD, you're always looking for that person who comes into your program that you feel like can carry it on, and maintain the culture and all those things that are important to you, and put their own stamp on it, of course, but somebody that can carry the ball, take the
Right.
ball and carry it where you were trying to go. And I
Yep.
think JW knew as soon as he got Jay Scarborough in that clubhouse and in that dugout that he had the guy. And everybody, when they made that announcement, everybody I talked to said, "Oh, this is a great move. This guy's really good." And I've gotten to see him work with the younger kids, and just talk ball with them, and see the way he operates his program. And of course, I have a lot of folks that I'm connected with through baseball that are on the inside of that program. And it's a really well run program with kids who are really committed, and they're seeing the results of that. And like you said, there's a bunch of kids in that program that are baseball players, and that's how they self-identify, like that's their identity. And that's when it gets really, really fun and really special, is when you have kids who understand the game on that kind of level and are committed to playing it at a high level, and they work every day to get better. And we're seeing that with this team. I mean, they have grown leaps and bounds over the course of the year. And like he said, they've got young kids contributing. Colt Sparger's an 8th grader who's pitched significant number of innings for them. Tough little left-hander. Stone Bird was in the lineup playing in the outfield the other day, another 8th grader. So they've leaned on some young kids, and they've stepped up big. And now they got Tucker Nelson coming back on the mound too, which is a huge addition, with him coming back. And I don't know, I think they said he's good for about 75 pitches right now, which is,
that's great.
You can get a good 4, 5, 6 inning outing out of that if you're efficient. So we'll see what he can do for him. I don't know if they'll go with him game 1 or Hayden, but yeah, absolutely, we should get an award. Speaking of our friend Jeff Riley, he was featured this weekend. If they meet Jeff Riley, that'll make them even better. Facts. He was featured this weekend.
Yes,
Jeff and our friend Nick Montfort placed 4th in bowling at the state games.
Nice.
But then perhaps more importantly, definitely more, it was pretty cool. Jeff was featured on Debbie Antonelli, the noted women's basketball commentator and coach. She did a 24-hour live stream on Saturday to raise money for Special Olympics, and she was like filming in her backyard, shooting baskets and stuff. And during this, she aired in its entirety our Center Court documentary on her live stream and for her live audience in her backyard.
Wow.
And then interviewed our friend Jeff about his experience and about the film, and as part of her fundraiser.
He's made the big leagues before.
No kidding.
It's only a matter of time before he's doing sideline reporting for Nesson, guys.
I'm telling you, man.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Jeff Riley is the man.
Phenomenal.
He is on his way. He is on his way,
legend, bro.
He killed it too. He was so good on the interview. He told me that he killed it, and he was right. He did. He aced it. He's the best. Jeff Riley's the best. He's the best of us. That's all there is to it. It's good people. Last round of sponsors, and then we'll do some parting thoughts and get on out of here. Base Hit Life featured on Max's sweatshirt right there. Baseball and softball themed apparel, hoodies, hats, t-shirts, all kinds of cool stuff. Live your best Base Hit Life and get styled up for the diamond at basehitlife.com. Dr. Ambrose Coles, our official chiropractor. Find him at Rooted Living Wellness in Bluffton, and he'll get you feeling right in mind, body, and spirit. Reverence Wrestling Club is the official wrestling sponsor of LowcoSports and presenting sponsor of the Lowco Grind, and the place to be this summer if you want to take your skills on the mat to the next level. Barefoot Floor Care of the Low Country. Get your floors so clean your feet will thank you. And Jay's Barbershop is the place to be in Ridgeland, whether you need a haircut or not, but it makes more sense if you do need a haircut. Still a cool place to hang out, though. Cool people. And you guys are cool people, and you probably have some parting thoughts for us in these last 10 minutes of this Mushy Monday edition of the Loco Sports Lowdown. Wes?
Marcus Walsh.
Marcus?
Walsh.
Sure.
What do you got?
Tell you what, I'm just looking forward to, literally brighter
Yes.
days ahead
Indeed.
because of all the rain that we've had
I'll
over
tell
the
you
last
what,
about
we
72
needed
hours.
some rain, but not that much rain.
Yeah, I was talking to my dad today. I said, well, I guess that's literally what we get for not having much rain, if any rain, in about the last 4 or 5 weeks. I'm looking forward to seeing May River and Colleton County resume tomorrow. I will be out there. Gonna have the Funky Bunch with me, so we may be able to get you a little bit of footage as well. But I'll be keeping score and keeping tabs on what's going on. So looking forward to that. I am just so impressed with what May River has done. Again, this is only the second time that I've seen this team in the span of about a week, but they just ace it at every level. And Coach Hess was terrific with us tonight, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them and seeing what they can do. I've mentioned May River a bunch because I saw baseball, I've seen softball, obviously I've seen basketball and football. Everything is coming up roses for May River, it looks like right now, and really looking forward to seeing the conclusion of that. But Colleton County is going to give them a game. I'm convinced of that with the way it started, and should be a fun one tomorrow night.
Yep.
And they're scrappy.
Indeed.
All right, Wes.
Yeah, I mean, echoing the thoughts of one Marcus Walsh. We are ready for the rain to disappear from us. It has been,
the rain.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Some Milli Vanilli right there. Yep. Classic. But yeah, we're ready for that to get behind us, and yeah, I'm ready for some brighter weather, and it should be. Although I'll tell you what, the rain may be gone, but it is gonna get hot.
Oh
yeah.
End of the week
I'm talking
your shorts
90
ready.
degrees hot by the weekend. So yeah,
hydrate early, hydrate often.
AC cranked up.
And get you some Gold Bond.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's definitely going to get warmer. Hopefully, we won't have any Saturday afternoon games, and we won't be, but maybe we will. And the teams will play so well that they will make me brave a warm 90-degree day in the sun watching baseball or softball. So, yeah. But yeah, we wish all of them good luck as they resume, and certainly I'm intrigued by a lot of them, especially the state title series, the prep and Christian Academy, and then of course the resumption of that game, which Marcus Walsh, you have been all over, and we have not talked about it, but we've talked so much baseball and softball. We got some big soccer as well tomorrow, including a home game. The Hilton Head Seahawks are home against North Augusta in the third round. So how about those Hilton Head High girls getting that big upset on the road? And now they get to go back home for round 3. That's pretty cool. That'll be 6:00 kickoff. It's just gonna be hard to be. You can't be you only can be in one place at once. That's what makes it tough. But hopefully, this is where we need all of you. This is where we need all of you watching this. Is if you're at a game that we're not at, give us details.
Let us know.
or take some video. Because it's we cannot possibly the laws of science cannot allow me to be in every place at once. So
I mean, there might be technology out there, but we do not have access to it.
Yeah. And if,
Elon
even
Musk
if there
might
was
be able to do it,
technology out, even if there was technology out there, we can't afford it either. So.
Right.
No, definitely not. Maxie, you got one?
I have one more.
Go ahead, Wes.
Yeah, real quick. Best wishes to Evan Longoria on his retirement, Major League Baseball.
Yes.
Someone who I
Great
remember
career.
very well. He was part of one of my saddest days as a sports fan when he hit the walk-off home run to
Yeah.
knock the Red Sox out of the playoffs in 2011.
That was my most stressful night as a sports editor. That was a nightmare.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was.
But had a terrific career, most notably with the Braves, but also played with the Giants later on, or not the Braves, the Rays, and most notably the Giants throughout the end of his career. And he will retire a Tampa Bay Ray in June, and he will, it's one day
Riley
contract and
felt your
retire Ray.
pain that night.
Yep.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
don't.
Max.
Well, I mean,
hurrah.
yeah, I'd love to say, best wishes to Evan Longoria. I did see that. I did enjoy watching his career. He was
too.
he was a
It was
special
really
guy.
fun to watch.
If injuries hadn't been as much of an issue for him, I do think he could have had a Hall of Fame career. I really do believe
Agreed.
that. But the thing I wanted to share, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Michael Jordan is joining NBC as a contributor to NBC when NBA basketball returns to the major network.
Oh yeah, Round Ball Rock is coming back.
So that's gonna be
back in the
very
spotlight.
interesting because if I'm not mistaken, he's never been a broadcaster in any way.
No,
Or a contributor
I
or
wonder if
analyst
they'll
or
ask him
anything
for
like
his FanDuel picks.
Ooh. Well, you know,
Yeah, you could
Well,
be a
that's what they
gambling
do on these
analyst.
broadcasts now. Was
The guys from Under the Bus had a great idea.
okay.
Put
We'll have
him
to
and
catch
put
that
him and
episode and
Barkley
see.
on the Ryder Cup.
Oh,
Yes,
that would
I'm
be
so down
awesome.
for that.
They
I would
they
be
had him
down
on.
for Charles Barkley to do.
They had
the
a
Ryder
Shaq
Cup.
on the TNT hockey broadcast one night.
Oh,
They did some
that'd be
That's
crossover there
great.
because they have Inside the NBA and so.
Yeah.
But
I need more of that. I need more
Yep.
Shaq on hockey broadcasts. I would
Yep.
listen to that all day.
Yep.
Maybe get Snoop Dogg in there with him.
By the way,
Ooh.
yeah, end of an era there.
I like
I can't believe that NBA and TNT is
I
coming
know.
to an end.
Parting ways.
And
How
it's
stupid
crazy.
is
so
that?
Inside the NBA is moving to ESPN, so that show's still going to be on air, but it's going to be
Right.
via ESPN.
It's going to be
now.
different.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Very.
Speaking of NHL, though, the other thing is, of course, it's not really our local team, but I guess it is because it's the closest NHL team we have to us, and that's the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah.
They're
That's
now
our closest to a local.
Yeah. Well, the
I guess
Thrashers
that's
are no
our
longer there.
local
You
team.
could have made an argument for the Thrashers, but they haven't been around for a while.
No more.
Yep.
Hey, there's a chance that
So where are
is
the
coming back
Canes
to
now?
Atlanta.
Where are the Canes now with?
They're up 3-1.
They are
They're
up 3-1 over the
Wow.
one-seeded Washington Capitals.
Yeah, Ovi
so
and the Caps.
nice.
That's
Yeah.
going to be
Ovi's in
very
trouble.
interesting. And then there is a game currently going on right now.
Yeah.
Hurricanes won today 5-2.
I just kind of want somebody from Canada to win it, honestly.
Yeah. Well,
Feeling
speaking
kinda
of which,
sorry for them.
the Edmonton Oilers are currently up 1-0 over the Golden Knights right now in the first period, and Edmonton's leading that series 2-1. So
Yeah.
there are a few Canadian teams right now that
Yeah.
are still playing for some playoff
Mhm.
hockey, including the Maple Leafs. Which if
Yeah.
I want to see a team
Yeah.
make it to the
I know,
Stanley
I
Cup
kinda want 'em
Finals,
to.
I want it to be Toronto Maple Leafs.
I kind of want them to too.
They're
But
they're
bringing
the
it
Dallas
back,
Cowboys of the NHL. They're
Yes,
the,
they are. Yes, they are.
they definitely are. But like, if the Cowboys they haven't won one in way longer than the Cowboys, like since the '70s, right? Like,
been like a minute.
Who, the Maple Leafs?
Sounds
Yeah,
right.
I think so.
yeah,
Like the 60s
it's been
and 70s.
forever. I feel
Yeah.
sorry for their
Every
fans.
time they get to the playoffs,
Um,
they end up going in the
I'll
first.
bring it back a little more local. We got a head
do it.
coach hire, guys.
Yes.
Yes,
Stricklander
yes, we
brought this to
do.
our attention. Thomas Hayward announcing his new head football coach, Daniel Bryan.
Okay.
He is another alum of the program, which proud history there. So certainly that is considered a big feather in your cap over there. Coach Bryan played at Thomas Hayward, graduated in 2002, and been a part of the program for a long time.
Another former alum. That I think that's important to keep it within.
Yep.
Yes.
Just a program like that to keep
He's
it
had
within.
one of the more,
Yeah.
I mean, he's among Thomas Hayward athletes. He's had one of the more really
I wouldn't know
successful
much about him
career
since he
as
was
a
Yeah,
player.
as it notes here,
so
he
soon.
was
So yeah.
the first offensive tackle to be ever named the SCISA Player of the Year, they say.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. Maybe they used to name SCISA Players of the Year. I don't think they do anymore. He played at Mars Hill and later professionally with the Osceola Ghost Riders in Florida. He was on that coaching staff last year when they went on and took a state championship. So a little continuity there. And I also saw that Logan Thomas, former standout quarterback, is their JV coach. So they're
Interesting.
leaning on some alums to try to
Yeah.
keep that program going with rumors of some departures, and we'll see what comes of that. But certainly naming a coach is the first step in trying to retain people who are talking about going somewhere else. You want to
Yeah.
Yeah,
give
of
them a
course.
coach and let him sell them a vision and try to
Yep.
retain them. So we'll see what it looks like over at Thomas Hayward. Small school like that, you don't have to have a whole lot of people walk out the door for it to
That's
really
right.
Right.
crumble. So
Yep.
he's got some work ahead of him to try to get people bought in
Yeah,
to
I
No
mean,
doubt.
stay
I'm
there.
very
Got to
intrigued
do it
when
quickly.
I mean, that's another thing we're going to keep in on within the next month or so, that the transfer
The transfer
window
portal.
for
Yes.
players and stuff like that will really start to
Yeah.
ramp up. And
Well,
I'm wondering what's going to go on regarding Thomas Hayward and other schools from that area.
right, because there's a lot of talk out there right now, but talk is cheap, and
Well, I think
sometimes kids say things, but they
there's
haven't
talk
talked to their
everywhere.
parents about the actual realities of like,
Right.
honey, you wouldn't be able to ride the bus, and you have to ride the bus.
Yeah.
Like things like that the kids aren't thinking about.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
So
That's
you
what
know,
we
one
call
thing I'm intrigued
logistics.
by.
logistics, exactly.
Logistics.
Because I mean, going into this time of the year, there's going to be rumors about certain players and coaches that are going to places and other things
Well,
like
and there'll
that.
be
Like,
some movement. There'll be some
yeah,
people move
Yeah.
around.
and I don't
For
think the
sure.
movement's anywhere close to being done with. I mean, we honestly, I
No.
think there's going to be some movement going around this off season, not just for football, but for other sports as well. So
Oh, for
I'm very
sure.
intrigued to see
It's
what
Yep.
happens.
it's gonna
Yeah.
be more than ever because it's literally you can do it now. Like it's not
Yeah.
against the rules.
Without any issues. I mean, it's a great.
It's
an interesting.
crazy.
It's going to be interesting. I like the idea of it. It's going to be very interesting.
I do think that it's a step in the right direction.
Right, yes.
Obviously, they're gonna
Yep.
have to adjust and adapt as time goes on and see
Like
how it works.
like I said, I like the idea of it,
It
but
just
I
it
think
just
there's some things that could be
clarifies and
improved on.
cleans it up a little bit. But
Yep.
yeah,
Right.
Jeff giving us updates, Riley updating us on the Knicks leading Boston again, and Tatum injured on the
Ooh, boy.
sideline.
Uh-oh.
Got his hand
Oh,
chopped going to the
my.
Oh
lane, and now
my
he's got
goodness,
his
it
hand all
is
wrapped up.
Kevin
danger
Libby,
time right now
how
for
you
the
doing,
Celtics.
Kevin?
Libby
Oh,
White.
Worried
don't
about
ask
your
that
libs.
question.
Who's that?
No.
We
I'm
have
worried about my
who's
Cavs,
who's a
too.
big
Ooh.
Basirko? Is he a big Knicks fan?
Basirko is a big Knicks fan.
Yeah,
Yes,
he's a huge
big
Knicks
time.
fan. Yeah.
Yeah.
JJ,
Yeah.
I've got a question for you. When does
Honestly, I'm
school
ready for the
end
Knicks, too.
in the high school league and in SCISA? They
When
got
does school end?
School
yeah
ends
Well,
like
that
for
early
the year.
June.
They
varies
got
from district to district, but
Yeah.
Beaufort County ends right before Memorial Day, and we go
I
another
think they go a
week.
little later than maybe
okay.
or maybe they go. I can pull up the calendar. And
Pretty
tell
sure
you.
Beaufort ends like right before Memorial Day, and then we
Yeah,
I
go
I
a
wasn't
think
week
sure
they
if it
before.
was
moved to
right
the year-round
before or about a
schedule
week
this year.
after.
Yeah, because they moved to the year-round schedule this year
Yeah.
instead of the traditional schedule. So yeah, they start earlier, and I assume they end earlier. So
Yeah, they're ending a
although
little bit
we have
earlier than normal. for sure.
if any of our baseball and softball games or teams get to the championship in high school, I think it goes to like the very end of May. So that would So it would be pretty cool if we get to. You never know. Beaufort could make a
Yeah.
run. Gay River could make a run. It's
Yeah.
not out of the question.
Well, yeah, and I think seniors will probably be graduating like here in about 10 or 12 days, right? Like
Yeah.
graduations start up pretty soon. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we could have some people playing for state championships after they walk, which is always fun. I remember a couple years at USCB, we had we
Yep.
were at conference tournaments the weekend of graduation,
Let's
so we
see
had little
here.
ceremonies at the hotel where we had them walk.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So it's actually they go until the weekend because Memorial Day is early this year. It's the 26th. They go through the 29th. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
There
So
you
it's right. I think that's right when the state championship
And then we
series
go
will be
another week
held.
after that.
And yeah, graduations go through. They go through the 28th through the 4th of June. So through the 3rd.
That
of June.
sounds about right.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Coming up on it fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, boys.
It's
Anything
wild.
else before we let these people be alone for the? Oh, actually, I do have one other thought, and that is, I can't believe this, but someone in Bluffton stole Bryson
yes.
Nimmer's golf
Yes,
club
I saw that.
out of his
Oh
locker.
no!
What the actual?
Oh my goodness!
Why?
Right?
Just why? Dude, there's so many
It's-
places you could get golf clubs, and you just had to choose the
Well,
place of a
apparently
PGA
they-
golfer.
Yeah.
Want to get away?
Yeah.
Apparently, they stole a
Yikes.
bunch of them last night in Belfair because I saw another gentleman who said that he had two sets of golf clubs stolen from Bear Fair last night.
Unreal.
But yeah, there you go. Had golf clubs stolen. So if you happen to come across a Mizuno golf bag with Bryson Nimmer's name on it, or somebody trying to sell some Mizuno S3s, Callaway or
my
Mizuno
goodness.
driver, 3-wood
Oh
mini
my
driver,
God.
or Scotty Cameron Circle T putter, get in touch with Bryson Nimmer because he's looking
Come
for
on,
those
man.
and he
That dude
kind of
just
needs
won-
them.
That dude just
You
won
know,
a
there
tournament.
are
Why
a couple
you
of
do
places
that
where
to
you can
him?
go
Won
buy
the,
clubs, folks.
Just won the Corn
Why
Ferry.
Called
would
the
you do that
PGA
to him? He
Superstore.
literally let him celebrate.
There
He
are
just
there are
won a
ample
tournament.
there are ample stores around this
Buddy.
area to get
What
some
the
good.
heck?
Yeah.
Why? It's
Can't
just
make it up.
stupid.
Can't make it up.
One
That's
other
as
thing.
bad as when somebody steals a band's instruments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One other
Yeah,
thing,
right.
because when
Great
Jeff
comparison.
Riley posted that Tatum looked injured, then he said Tatum had to be helped off and possibly a foot or knee injury.
Oh no.
So
Oh
that-
boy, that
Oh,
could be a
did he
backbreaker
get hurt
right there.
again after the hand injury? Because I saw him on the bench with something on his hand. He got
I think
banged
he
up
already
pretty
had
good.
that on his hand. If I'm
Yeah.
not, yeah, I don't
I
remember.
don't know. It's not looking good for Boston right now, though.
No, it is not.
Yeah,
You know,
Boston's banged up and Cleveland's
I'm
banged up
okay with
too.
that.
Shocker.
I'm
See the
okay with that.
Celtics announced.
I'm okay with Boston. I like the Knicks right now. They're like the team I'm
Do you,
kind of
do you think they're for real? If they win this series, do you like them? Do you like them going further? Do you like them in the conference finals against was it Indiana?
Oh, well, they would either play. Who would they play? Probably
Minnesota-
Indiana, right?
Yeah. Oh,
They-
yeah.
Indiana's up
Indiana's looking
3-1
good against
over Cleveland. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Cleveland's been strong this year as well.
I still
That's the
got
other
Minnesota
thing.
to win it all, honestly.
Ooh.
I do like
It's wide
Minnesota.
open right now. It really
I
is. don't
think
at this point-
if the Knicks beat the Celtics, they're for real. However,
Oh,
There's
for
that at
sure.
that.
I think if
Yeah.
they end up having to
There's
play
no
the
fluke if
Indiana
you win a best of
Pacers
7
on
series.
a good day for the Pacers, I really do like that Pacers team as well. They're really
I don't
fun to
know.
watch.
I like this Knicks
But
team.
I think if
Yeah.
the
I do
Knicks
too.
beat the Celtics, they're for real. By the way,
Right.
if they win tonight, which they are currently, they will be up 3-1.
Yeah,
over
they're
Boston.
going to win.
I mean,
it.
it's not out of the question. Celtics can come back down 3-1, but certainly
Not at all. Two of them are at home.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So.
But they've twice now.
But
in this
Tatum does
series-
appear to be
Twice-
Tatum's
significantly
out, and
injured.
that's a big blow. You know.
But
I
the
just
thing
saw
is,
him going
Boston-
off,
the
and
one
he
thing
was
I've
not
seen
putting
out of
any pressure
Boston
on
this
his right leg.
series, the one thing I've seen out of Boston this series is they have not been able to get the job done. They have been up twice in this series by 20 points or more, and have ended up losing the lead and losing those two games to the Celtics. And so it's like a reoccurring thing with this team. I really do like the Knicks, and I think if they beat the Celtics, I think they're for real, and I think they could be going to the NBA Finals,
Oh.
which
Well,
would be
that's a big reach, man. You're saying that if they go to the Eastern Conference Finals, they could be going to the NBA Finals?
no. I'm saying, yeah, you
I'm
know what
just
I'm
messing.
saying. You know what I'm
just
saying.
messing.
But
I do.
really
I
do
was
think,
just
like,
playing around.
I think if they end up playing the Pacers, I like the Knicks in that series.
I like the Knicks in that series as well, but I
Yeah,
like
I
the
do
West
too.
against the East in the finals. I think. I just think
Agreed.
it's tougher.
But I
Yeah.
do love watching that Knicks team. They are fun to watch. But
Oh,
so
they're
is that
fun as
Indiana
hell.
team.
Yep.
That Pacers
that-
team is fun.
I love the Knicks fan
And
base. I just
yeah,
think
and
they're
the
so
Knicks game
passionate.
back
I would
at
love to see them
Porzingis
win.
has to feel good, right? I mean, the
True.
Knicks
Yeah.
game. Yeah.
Porzingis. All right, boys. Well, let's call it a night. Thanks to Lisa Hess, coach from May River Softball, and Jay Scarbro from Hilton Head Christian Academy Baseball for joining us tonight. Made for some great conversation on a soggy Monday night in the Lowco, but we should be back at it tomorrow with the busy slate. We told you on the ticker about all the things happening tomorrow. The resumption of that Colleton County May River softball game, the baseball games. Hilton Head Christian Ben Lippen now pushed to Wednesday. We will see about Orangeburg Prep and Hilton Head Prep. Hartsville and Beaufort baseball on tap 6:30 on Ladies Island. Carvers Bay at Hardyville at 4:30. And then girls soccer May River at Bishop England and North Augusta at Hilton Head. That one a 6 o'clock kick. And then a 6:30 kick either in Hardyville or Ridgeland. Jags and Canes, Jasper Derby Part 3 for the to go to the lower state championship. So Jeff Riley, Celtics reporter, checking in. We're going to try to get him on the sideline. Get your Celtics sideline reporter.
Yeah.
But thanks so much to everybody who tuned in. Thanks to all of our sponsors, especially Mickelson Law Firm. And thanks to you fellas, best wingmen in the business, Marcus Walsh, Wes Kerr, and Max Araj. For those three, I'm Justin Jarrett. Thanks for joining us. And until next time, go Loco.
The Lowco Sports Lowdown podcast is a production of Lowco Media LLC and LowcoSports.com, an independent media outlet providing grassroots local sports coverage in the South Carolina Lowcountry. We are sustained by community support from sponsors and patrons like you. Get in the game with a monthly pledge of $1 or more at patreon.com/LowcoSports to keep us going and growing. Go Loco.